Hello, girlfriend. How are
Hello.
you?
I
Hey,
am so
Naomi.
excited. Hi, Karen. How are you doing? I'm so excited to be here today. I
Oh,
woke up
you
this
know,
morning and I jumped out of bed and I'm like, oh, I get to talk to Karen today. Let's go.
you know what I love about our podcast, our Being Brave tour, is that it is a conversation. It's not, all formal or anything. We were literally like on the road with a girlfriend sitting next to us having a conversation.
Mm,
So,
I love
yeah,
it.
so good to have you here. And you have lived a bit of an adventurous life.
I have. I
So
have.
yeah, so share a little bit about kind of where you've been, where you are, and what you're doing now.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. What a journey. I don't even know where to start. But let me go all the way back to when I was living in New Orleans. So 10 years ago, a little over a decade ago, actually, I was living in New Orleans and I was an environmental scientist, but I
Oh,
wasn't happy. I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I felt really stuck, right? So I started struggling with a lot of anxiety and panic attacks, just thinking
mm,
about my life like, is this all there is? Like, there's got to be more,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So the monotony really got to me. And one day I woke up on my living room floor mid panic attack and it changed my entire life. I decided, you know what, something has to change and it has to change now.
Yeah.
So I decided to take control of my life and I dug up an old dream of travel in a van, visiting all the national parks to be close to nature. And 3 months after making that decision, I was on the road. And it was supposed to be a 1 year journey from New Orleans to Alaska to see the aurora borealis, something I dreamt of ever since I was a child. And 6 months in, I decided, you know what? I'm going to keep going as long as I can because I couldn't unsee the freedom. As challenging as it was to really simplify my life,
Mm-hmm.
it was one of the best decisions I ever made because it showed me what was possible when you take the leap into your life, when you choose to get uncomfortable to
Uh-huh.
really live a fulfilling life, because there's a lot of discomfort there. There was for me anyway. But I
Right.
into
Just
that.
trying to simplify your life to live in a van and have this adventurous life. And, I mean, there's a lot around that. So, yeah. So, continue with your
Yes.
story.
Yeah, so I ended up on the road. It took me 5 years to get to Alaska.
Oh,
And yeah, there was just so much to see and do in between. And I was also building community along the way. So it was very fluid. But by the time I made it to Alaska, it was 5 years later. And I was on the road for almost a decade. Yeah, full time. I created a
wow.
whole career out of it. And yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that because you created a career around that. So, I mean, you
Mhm.
can't just go and live, off the land or whatever, you've got, and so, and I'm trying to remember, was it called a van life? The adventures?
Yeah, yeah, it was van life. Yeah, when I started, there wasn't a hashtag yet.
You hashtags. Now you have a hashtag.
Yeah, now it's like
Yes.
millions.
Yes. So, and one of the things that I've enjoyed is just seeing some of your pictures
Yeah,
of your travels and different things. Yeah. Because,
yeah,
people can live vicariously through your experiences
yeah.
that you've created. Yeah.
And they have, it's been such a beautiful journey of building community around that
Uh-huh.
experience and like truly experimenting with my life because the life that you focus on is the life that you're going to experience. And that's what I focused on. I focused on building a really fulfilling life around my passions, my joy, and showing up authentically, not based on what others expect of me. But
Yeah.
that wasn't the end of the journey. In 2023, I published my first book and um, I burned out. I burned out after that. Yeah, I burned out and I went through a life disruption. I went through a divorce and lost in the process of going through such a heart-wrenching situation, I had to really think about the people in my inner circle, the people that were
Mhm.
lifting me up, the people that were draining me. And I took inventory and I had to release a lot of people and I had to release a lot of my own expectations, the expectations that I put on myself that led me down that path to burnout.
Mm.
And it changed my entire life. And since then, I've been on a journey of reinventing myself that led me to purchasing some land out near Joshua Tree to build my dream ranch, which I'm doing right now. And it's been a challenging, but truly a beautiful journey. Like that winter season is what I like to call it, gifted me new
Mm.
eyes to really experience my life through. And it's been eye-opening. And now I'm on a mission to help other women, navigate these silent struggles, because so many of us are navigating. So many of us are pushing through chronic exhaustion, burnout, hiding our pain, and living in isolation in our experiences. And I think that there are better ways to do it.
Yes. And I like a couple things that you said there. Some of, kind of being in that winter season, our lives are full of seasons. There's
Yeah.
transitions and challenges and what that might look like. And to gain the beauty out of that and then now be on a new mission, a new passion, all these different things. And that kind of just leads us right into to this worksheet that we're doing today. So ladies, if you haven't been listening in, we have a new magazine called The Brave Magazine. It's about celebrating the everyday brave, those little choices that we make. I mean, Naomi took big choices, but there was a lot of little decisions and little things to happen within that each day. As you're waking up, it's like, okay, I'm going to have a ranch today. What is that going to look like? Building that dream or what is the next best step to create an income or how is it all going to work? All those things. So we're in the magazine, it's full of resources, reflections, things to literally challenge us to think a little deeper, take a brave step, or maybe pause and take a moment for ourselves, which is also brave because, like you said, and I want to touch a little bit on that point of burnout.
Yeah.
I also, when I wrote a book, I got burnt out.
Mm.
Because I collected 29 stories. It was a big project. I had never done something like that.
Wow.
We did the editing and I had someone do that, and Kathy Sparrow was so beautiful to help lead us through that. But it was a big project. And and when you're trying to do lots of different things besides just a book and all the other things on top of it, you can experience a little bit of burnout. And I think that's our culture a little bit, our society, that we're expected to push so hard, go so hard, do it all, I remember walking through my divorce at one point. It was said to me that, well, what happened to you? You used to be able to do it all.
Oh, there's
I mean, girls, how many times have you told yourself that?
You
can do it all. You don't need help. You can just do, you can make a, do 10,000 things. And it's so hard. And we're pushing ourselves. And that leads me into your this beautiful, whether we call it a reflection, a resource, and it's called Welcome to Your Journey of Softening In. Just that it has a different tone. People don't use that word soft.
No, because softness is usually equated to weakness.
Yes.
Right? When you're soft, you're weak. But this is a redefining of softness, because we need more women leaning into their softness. Softness is not a weakness, it's a strength. It's it's a powerful, quiet, feminine strength that I think is gravely undervalued.
Yes. And what I love too, so you talk about that, it's redefining strength, practicing, invites you to approach life with grace, presence, and authenticity. The thing that I love that you said though too is about defining what that means for you. What does softening in mean for you? So Naomi, what does it mean? What does that mean for you? Give the ladies kind of an example of that strength, what that might look like.
Of soft living. Yeah. So softening in or soft living is what I like to call it as well. That's another term for it. It's about really peeling back those layers of the hustle culture that you were mentioning early, the societal expectation that holds us down, that keeps us stuck in these patterns that, it stops us from truly living a fulfilling life, and it's about reconnecting with that inner voice and that and your natural rhythm. Like, what do you need? Asking yourself the questions, what do I need on this journey? It's a practice of gentleness, of presence, and rewriting your story, rewriting those hard rules that we've inherited that no longer serves us,
Yeah.
I want to see more women truly prioritizing their well-being, setting those boundaries, and moving through the world with more grace and authenticity. And that is the mission that I'm on. That is the journey that I'm on. Balancing that strength with vulnerability and choosing presence over pressure.
And some of the things too, when you were talking, I had a vision come into my head of unlinking the chains that have been holding us down, those unwritten rules that we have for ourselves. And so, ladies, if you have a chance, that we'll be putting the link so you can download this the magazine and these pages. And if you want the PDF version, you can subscribe to our free magazine. And so, yeah, so you can do that. But so we're going to be walking through this, and it was liberating for me. That's a word that came. Even though the word softening, you think of soft, gentle, whatever. But if you're equating soft to strength, it takes on a new meaning. I almost felt myself sitting up stronger and straighter. And liberate myself from some of these things. So let's walk through this a little bit. You talk about the rules, those unspoken rules that weigh on our shoulders, those kind of things that kind of bind us to this hustle culture, if you will. So give us an example of what that might be.
Yeah. So for me, I'll give an example for myself. Like, one of those hard rules was that I'm not enough unless I'm achieving.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. How many girls? I want to see a little relate. I relate with maybe a little heart. That is, I think, a number one for many, many women.
And I was not aware that I was living by this unspoken rule. It's what I was doing. It's what I felt deep down inside. Like, I'm not enough. I need to do. I need to prove my worth. I need to achieve, and I need to show that I'm achieving in order to feel like I'm enough. And that impacted my journey. It was instrumental in my burnout.
Yeah.
Right. And in the worksheet, that's one of the foundational pieces to really softening in. It's bringing awareness and shifting from those hard rules to those softer rules that are so much more attainable, so much more authentic to our journeys, and makes us feel more whole. Because we carry these inherited rigid rules that it's keeping us in cycles of stress and chronic burnout.
Yes, absolutely. And so I would love I see we have lots of girlfriends here. We have Kelly and Nicole and Haley listening in. So, and if you are catching the replay, what is one rule that has kind of been that you say to yourself? Okay, so the one that Noami said is one I say often to myself. I actually walked through this before we came on today, and I came up with several.
Tell me.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of around that too, is I cannot stop until I've given every ounce of myself to others. I am in constant survival mode and do not feel I'm allowed to live a life of joy.
That's real.
Because we have so many challenges, so many things that come our way. So we're supposed to just be like solving, saving everybody,
pouring from an empty cup. Yeah.
Yeah, all these things. And I have to keep doing and be busy to prove my worth. That was my top one.
Very similar.
Because you don't feel like you're enough. You have to prove your worth, that you have to keep going. And, and one of the things that came up for me around that too, is that I get so busy doing that I don't have time to really nurture relationships.
Right. Yeah. And it really does impact your relationships. It impacted my relationships immensely. And it also taught others how to be in relation to me. So I was teaching other people that I am willing to pour from an empty cup. So, there weren't boundaries there. Right. So there was this expectation that led to me having to take inventory of the relationships, the people closest to me, and redefining those for myself, and also having the courage to say, you know what, this relationship isn't working for me anymore, and releasing them.
Yeah.
So it was, like being really aware of those unspoken hard rules and taking stock of them and redefining them. So what did you come up with? Because in the worksheet, I invite women to like really take a quiet moment, journal, and name those unconscious rules by bringing them to light, and then see how it shows up in their bodies, in their minds, also like you mentioned, in relationships and so on. So
Yeah.
What are some new rules that you came up
Yeah.
with?
So one was that I have to keep doing to be busy to prove my worth. But the other question that you asked too is, where in my life do I feel bound by shoulds and musts? So
Mm-hmm.
all these questions kind of brought up some different pieces, and mine was I should do more. And then you asked, how does this hardness show up in my body, my mind, my heart? It feels up like I'm always behind. I'm
Mm,
always stressing to get something done. So I have to hurry, hurry, hurry. And so, which leaves no time for myself as a priority, or free time, or to pause, and sometimes not even to breathe. I've been so busy these last couple months that I literally have to remind myself to breathe.
yeah. Yeah.
And so it's just showing up as all this stress. And well, then I got sick, and I have had this sinus thing for a month and a half. So that's how it's showing up. But another one that came up for me is, I'm afraid if I love something, it will be taken away,
Yeah.
because
That's
I've had so many transitions, changes that weren't of my choosing,
yeah.
but I'm in the midst of, and that happens. It's life. Life happens around you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. Yeah, and the life, like I said earlier, the life you focus on is what you're going to experience. So, this is really important for women to see, like, what they really are. Like, see them for what they are and choose to let them go, choose to redefine them, like helping you move from a mindset of this relentless pushing and not enoughness to one of, yeah, like that's what I call it. For me, it's like that's what I named it. I'm like, wow, this
Oh,
not enoughness is really, really
yeah.
challenging me, and just really shining that light on it and realizing that you can rewrite it. And it really feels revolutionary. It shouldn't.
Oh,
But in this world today, where women are expected to just show up and pour and keep pouring, because we are the nurturers, the caretakers, it does feel revolutionary. But there
yes.
is another way, a way of like honoring your true needs and putting yourself first. And one way I love to do that is every day I take time to get outside in nature,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have to be this huge thing. It could be like stepping outside, walking barefoot on the earth, getting 10 minutes of sunshine with no distractions, no phones. In this digital age, like there's so
Yeah.
much coming at us all the time, and we're expected to show up for it. But it's so important for us to take that time for ourselves to decompress and to really listen to that inner voice and our needs, and it doesn't matter whether you're in boardrooms every day, you're a stay-at-home mom, or what, it doesn't matter. But this time is so important for us because it shapes everything. It shapes how we show up for ourselves every day in every way.
It does. And so we are live streaming this recording, and so we have ladies piping in, which is really fun. We have some ladies with some comments. We're just going to share a couple of these. Haley says, I haven't known anything out of survival mode, so coming into living feels like a rebirth.
Mm, yeah,
Choosing others to help, and seeing my family succeed always felt like success.
that's
you know
beautiful.
yeah. And so, yes. And let's see, not enoughness, love that. We I think that is a one of our worth enough. All those words come into play a lot for a lot of women. So let's take it now to this next space. We've identified maybe what our one of our rules is, or maybe you have several like me. uh,
Yeah,
it just challenges you to think how you might be thinking or speaking to yourself.
right.
And when you talk about softness, isn't surrender, it's a radical act of courage. And I love
Yes.
how you said that revolution. One of our issues of the magazine is yesterday's woman, today's revolution. And
Oh,
that's what
yes.
this is. This is today's revolution. Ladies, we are going to switch our talk around how we talk to ourselves and start. And I love how you talk about this too. We're going to transform these into affirmations and
Yeah.
talk to yourself like with the tenderness of a dear friend.
Hmm.
And write a gentle affirmation that honors your needs and humanity.
Yes. Yes. It is, it's so important for us to really recognize the patterns of how we talk to ourselves, because I honestly, like, I'm in a place right now where I have so much compassion for myself, because I took stock of like the language that I was using, not only like, what I was saying out loud, but what I was thinking. even
Yes.
on, like unconsciously, I'm just like the words that I say to myself and how it impacted me, giving myself permission to rest, giving myself permission to nurture without being hard on ourselves, because we beat ourselves up so much. And it's so important for us to like really soften our language, soften in, like craft a softer story. That's what this next part is.
Yes. So tell us, how do we do that? How do we craft a softer message to ourselves? What does that look like? Give us an example.
Yeah. So one of the things that one of the harder rules, I used to say to myself that I had to be perfect. Like it's not perfect. This isn't perfect, so I can't rest. And another one is like I have to put others first. And I shifted that instead of perfectionism, which really, like it was a very challenging journey for me to move away from that. Was like I give myself permission to say that this is enough.
Yeah.
And that released so much stress and, just made me feel so much more nurtured on my journey, that what I'm doing, what I'm creating, how much I'm giving is enough.
Yeah. And I love one that you just said, because I thought, oh my gosh, I do that as well. Is that I always feel like I have to put others first. So
Yeah.
much so doing that, it trained other people how they were going to treat me, because they
Yeah.
expected me to put them first always.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so that, it just becomes like that relentless pattern that you were talking about. But if we
Yeah.
start maybe changing the talk, then it also creates those, what you're available for and what you're not available for, or boundaries, or what that looks like, that you
Yeah.
have a clearer space from where to speak.
Yeah. And one of the things too is like when I write the new truths, but also say them out loud, I can feel the shift in my body. Like now I live through that lens of that softer story, and it's amazing the transformation that's happened, because
Yeah.
they really, really start to show up in your interactions every day, and how you show up for yourself, but also how you teach other people the boundaries,
Yeah.
right?
Right. So I did walk through this, and I spent some time this morning. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do this. This is great. So like I said, one of my rules was I cannot stop until I've given every ounce of myself to others. So reframing that, the reframe around that is that I honor myself by giving from overflow, not depletion.
I told you that gave me goosebumps. Really?
Yes. And so another one, I'm in constant survival mode and do not feel I am allowed to live a life of joy.
Mhm.
My reframe is I am safe now.
Yes.
I
Oh,
allow myself to move from survival to joy.
mm, I love that. And it's really a way of like reshaping your entire way of living, the way of being, of breathing, just breathing
Yeah.
into the softening, right? Giving yourself permission to be imperfect and move through life with ease and grace.
Yeah. And I have to say that to
Oh,
myself. I
yeah.
didn't realize safety was an issue of mine, that I
Yeah.
wasn't always feeling safe, walking through some really difficult transitions.
Yeah.
And so I have to tell myself, I am safe. I am safe here. And
Yeah.
yeah, so another one is joy is not something I must earn. It is something I am worthy of experiencing.
Mm, I love that so, so much. And it's true because yeah, we can choose joy every day. It's available to us in every moment.
Yes. And another one of mine is, um, like I said, the rule was I am afraid if I love something, it will be taken away. And my reframe is it is safe for me to love fully and receive fully. So girls, I have these now on my
Great.
phone so I can refer back to them, so I can say them to myself.
That's so beautiful. I love that for you,
Okay,
Karen.
this
I
is for
really
nobody
do.
else but me, Naomi. It's just I'm absolutely loving this. This is challenging me to think deeper, go a little bit. Um, what really matters to me, and
Yeah.
how can I, if I show up in this other way, coming from a place of overflow versus depletion,
Yeah.
what might that look like?
Hmm. And truly imagining that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Envisioning that. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
And
I
I,
just
and I love telling people, like, the women, like, yeah, I love inviting them to like take the journal outside, find a quiet spot in nature, and just write it down and ask yourselves, like, what would it feel like to soften the edge? And what does this new story really look like for me? And visualizing that deeply.
Yeah. And visualizing it from a place of strength rather than a place of weakness. I love that.
Yeah.
And so part of your little space in our magazine too, you do that. You have a guided visualization, if I can say that, and you say so a quiet space. So kind of walk us through what that might look like. What are you talking about with that little meditation?
Yeah, so I love to invite people to go outside, do it in nature, sit in the sun and really feel what it is, because for me visualization is a powerful tool, and it really bridges the
Mhm.
gap between the mind and body in my experience, and it really allows us to feel the new reality before it fully exists. And in the guided meditation, it's about, thinking differently, but also embodying softness and wholeness in a new way that rewires your whole experience, your experience with yourself and the people
Mhm.
around you, your entire environment, right? So I feel like when we take that sacred pause and do
Mm.
this visualization, we're able to imagine releasing the weight of those old hard rules and giving ourselves that permission to feel lighter, to feel freer, like you were saying earlier, liberated. This is
Yes.
about liberation, and it doesn't have to be this huge thing. It happens in small intentional steps, like first taking that time for yourself, to feel aligned, right? And softening in is just just as much a mental shift as it is an embodied act of like truly reclaiming your true self, truly reclaiming your softness and your feminine, fire, in my opinion. Because as coming out of the burnout, I truly experience my fire coming back. That spark that I thought,
Oh,
yeah, I thought I lost it, but it
yeah.
came back to me, and that
Mhm.
happened through this softening in journey. So just making the transformation feel more real and sustainable, not just an idea. And
Mhm.
that's what these visualizations really do for you, like I think personally, I would say like it's where healing begins, it's where we really begin to experience a different way of being and fully and deeply experiencing it in our lives.
Yes, and I love this. There's so much to it, and I love that word spark. And I do want to mention too that this particular issue of the magazine is a really a special edition with the Be Extraordinary Women's Network with Debbie Prediger and her beautiful Shine Circle ladies. And we brought this community to come and really give all of you ladies a gift. That's what I see this as. You are coming and bringing this beautiful little reflection and this little walk through to discover something about us, to rekindle that spark, to create or see that beauty within, and to have that moment and go, oh yeah, you know what? I'm here. I'm worth this space to stop and reflect and take a moment. I love that sacred pause, and realize too that gentleness can be a strength. We don't have to be loud or, and maybe if you are, that's great, but we
Right.
don't, just recognizing our uniqueness and what that might be like. And then, taking a look at our hustle culture that we've been a part of. And does that fit you? And how can our world be, more like you were talking about originally,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be the way it is. What if there was more? What if it was different? What if it, I don't know, brings more beauty of you to the
Yeah.
table? So,
Yeah.
yes, as we close out, too, what would you like to leave the ladies with?
Oh, I just, first of all, Karen, I'm so grateful for what, your magazine and the movement that you're creating of being brave. I feel so at home in your community, and I really align with the mission of being brave every day. And that's the journey I'm on right now. So thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I just want women to know that, you know, um, small action steps is where the transformation really moves to reality. So just making sure every day you take intentional, manageable steps toward weaving softness into your daily life and breaking those old patterns, like you were saying, of hustle culture and the not enoughness, one moment at a time. Like this is the time to pay attention to what feels liberating to you and recognizing it in your mind, your body, and the freedom that you truly want to live toward a life of wholeness. So yeah,
Yeah.
please enjoy the worksheet, and thank you again so much, Karen.
Yes, you're welcome. It's been such a joy to have a deep conversation and challenge ourselves. And ladies, it is. It's really one woman, one brave step at a time. And you don't have to do it alone. That's what we're here for. And in our magazine, we are a little different. We like to do things, flip the script a little bit. And the ladies have also offered a little walk. If you want to walk through with their reflection, their worksheet, their resource, just reach out. All their information is right there. And so you can have a personal touch. You can meet Noami. You can chat with her and see what she's all about and have a conversation. So we just want this to really bless your life and help you walk your story, your journey, and we're here for you. So we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys. Thank you.